Welcome, everybody, to the Detroit Cast. Mike and Jay. Shalom, Biggie. Hello, Jay.
Hello, Michael.
How are you, my friend?
Pleased to be with you.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, it's wrapping up a week. An exciting week we're wrapping up today as well, because I don't know if you noticed, there's a couple people sitting here in the studio with us. Our old buddy Josh Riehl.
Hey.
Jenny Feterovich is also here. How's my Russian? Do you like my Russian accent?
Your Russian is perfect.
Sorry, let me turn your mic on.
Russian is perfect. You would totally fit in right now.
There was one story we were doing, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, and it was with some Russian woman. She didn't want her kid anymore because it was ugly, and her quote in the paper was, the government take this baby unless you get plastic surgery. I don't want it. She has hideous, ugly face. And I thought, the way she said, she has hideous, ugly face, I was like, oh, that's the greatest fucking thing I've ever heard.
It lends nicely to the Russian accent.
It does. Hideous, ugly face. And so I've been working on my Russian accent ever since.
Specifically.
It's good. It's good. You could play a villain, because Russians are always villains. I don't know why. I want to see like one nice Russian in a movie. You're going to make a movie about nice Russian
people. You guys
people.
do make good Bond villains, though.
They're always English-speaking Russians. You're right.
Yeah.
About that.
Right, with a bad accent.
I think there is a movie about nice Russians.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of.
Wow.
Do tell.
That was a nice seg, Josh. You can tell he's been working on this movie for a while. They, of course, we've got the director and the producer of the Russian 5, and I am probably more glad than you that this movie is finally going to be seen by everybody, because I'm sick of being asked, when can I see the fucking movie? I'm like, I don't know. Call them. I don't know. They hear you on the show, and then it's like we have all the answers. So it's got to be exciting for you guys to finally have people really seeing this.
Yeah, like you, we can tell them it's out. Go see it. Stop asking.
It's today, right? Is it officially out today in a lot of the Imagine theaters? I thought I saw it in the paper.
Imagine
Yeah,
starts.
tonight. So we have an advanced screening, only at Imagine's tonight, and then it opens wide starting tomorrow. And yes, we're just as sick of people writing us. They think we can snap our fingers and have a movie out just like that,
In fairness, it's been 7 years. Did you guys ever dream it would take this long to get this movie from start to finish?
No, but I should have, because, I mean, honestly, that's sort of typical for documentaries.
Is it really?
It is, unfortunately.
I figured I could do it in 6 months. Like, just book the interviews. I'll do the interviews and then get me in the editing room. No problem. We'll wrap this in 6 months. We're in theaters by the end of summer.
Well,
Good
especially after Free Film Festival 1 year ago, almost exactly, right? And then here we are, a full calendar year around.
Yes.
Going,
Was that a year ago?
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Wow.
exactly a year ago. I mean, I've been in this project for 3.5 years. Josh, the inception was 7 years ago. But what people don't understand is what it takes to make a film, from the interviews to the whole process. I mean, there's animation, there's editing, there's music, there's so many things. And a year ago, yes, we're at the festival, but you have to do a festival run, find a distributor. All the stars have to align. And with this particular film, we felt a little bit of the snob from the Hollywood and from other places. They're
Really?
looking at 100%.
Why?
That's real? Hollywood snobbery?
It's real, and we're gonna say that because we felt it, and I think some people are looking at this. Oh, it's a Detroit film made by the Detroit people, but we will see when Monday comes, and we'll see the box office, and we'll see the fans rise up and show what this movie is all about.
Hockey Town's going to bring this home for you.
Well, I mean, people in Michigan like to go to the movies, so...
Yeah. And the cool thing is, too, and we've said it a dozen times on this show, you don't even need to be a sports fan, let alone a hockey fan, to really get into this movie. It's way more than just a story of, the 5 Russian players on the ice.
Right.
I mean, the story is really of them getting to America and what went in, the whole process to bring them here. I mean, it's an amazing tale that most people will have no clue about. I know we didn't, and we've been diehard Wings fans forever.
Yeah, most people had no idea. I mean, the stories that we dive into, we couldn't even believe that people were saying what they were saying, honestly.
Yeah.
It's how they came here, the bribes, what it took to get them out. So we've had a lot of people walk out of the movie theater, look us in the face, say, I'm not a hockey fan. I absolutely love this. Thank you for making this. I got to know the whole story. So we're really connecting with the audience. As Josh puts it so well, he set out to make a film about hockey, but it's not about hockey. It's about humans that play hockey.
Yeah, and it really comes through. I mean, you'll be hard-pressed not to cry at some point during the film. I mean, it's very, very touching and it's funny and
dynamic production. The animation you mentioned is amazing in it.
Yeah. We should mention we do have another pair of tickets to give away. Jay, why don't we just do, in honor of the Russian 5, why don't we just do the 5th person to email in right now? We'll give you a pair of tickets, and these are not cheap. This is for the red carpet charity event going on tomorrow night at the Imagine in Royal Oak.
Yep.
And if people want to get tickets for that, it's all for a good cause. Portion of the proceeds go right to Vladdy.
100% of the proceeds.
100%.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
To Vladimir Konstantinov's
Special Needs
Special Needs Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And if people want to buy tickets for that, it's going to be a really special night. We'll let you guys explain what's going on tomorrow. But therussian5.com/red carpet. Then you can buy tickets there for it. So what are people going to expect tomorrow night at the big red carpet event?
Sure. So first, of course, there's a big red carpet. So come join us on the big red carpet. We've got Konstantinov is coming. A few other Red Wings are coming. We've got some amazing people coming to the red carpet. You'll get to see the movie. There's a Q&A after. And then there's an afterglow sponsored by Stoli. We're going to have an open bar.
Vodka.
We're
Some
going to have
vodka
vodka. There is no Russian party happening without vodka.
Hell no.
So Stoli is sponsoring the party. So thank you very much. They've been amazing in general liquor and spirits. So open bar, food. We've got Caravan Gypsies going to play great music.
Who do you have? Gasoline Gypsies?
No, Caravan Gypsies.
Caravan Gypsies.
Yeah, but Gasoline Gypsies we know too. So
yeah, they're great guys. Yeah,
great
they've been
guys.
in here before.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Caravan Gypsy is going to be some Russian music.
Oh,
actually,
excellent.
And but not just Russian music, but that's the theme since it's the Russian 5. So come enjoy the night with us. We still have a few tickets left. We're going to be selling out very soon, and all going to Vladdy. So
Awesome, and it's cool. You said Vladdy will be there.
he will be there. Yes.
He was there at the the State?
Fox. I think.
I thought it was
Fillmore.
the State.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Theater.
Fillmore, yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fillmore State.
And it's really cool to walk by him, just like around him, seeing him and Darren together,
Yeah.
McCarty. I mean, the way they immediately connected, I mean, it's really cool for fans to see Vladdy out and about. And he's doing well, I hope, anyways. I mean, appears to be, but.
I mean, you got to think that no one expected him to live that night of the accident.
No.
And it's been over 20 years, and he's still fighting strong. And that it just shows you the toughness of him as a person.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was always important for us from day one when me and Josh met that we would do something for him. So we're actually giving away 5% of the proceeds from the film to his special needs trust as well.
Yeah.
And when that Fillmore was full, it was 3,000 people. People chanted his name.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
It was
the Red Wings
goosebumps.
chants and Vladdy,
And his family, they told us that they could see how excited he was when he watched this. It's like he went back to that moment, and they
Yeah.
haven't seen that in a while. And it's just like that just reaffirms everything that we wanted to do, and one of the reasons why we did this.
So how did you two hook up? I mean, was it because of this film that you guys started working together?
Yeah, so I started the process of making the film while I was living in Austin, Texas, and at that point I had basically shot a teaser trailer. I had an investor who said, get the Russians on board and they'll fund it, and I got the Russians on board and he disappeared. So I had a trailer and I had everyone on board. I didn't have any money. And trying to raise money for this film in Texas was impossible. Everyone was like, well, if it was about football, I'd write you a check now. So, I knew that I needed to move home to make this movie. So I packed everything I owned up in,
you just finished
storage.
school not that long before that, right? Weren't you going to film school in Boston?
I kind of dropped out and was making films.
Yeah.
And so I just moved everything in storage, came back, kind of with thinking that, okay, Detroit's a place where I'm going to meet someone who's going to know someone who's going to set up a lunch, the following week. And if I'm on the ground, I can make that happen, and hopefully that's how it'll work. And so our good friends Rob Cosino and Chris Rossick from Get Super Rad, who had just worked with Jenny, were like, dude, you need to meet her. I think she's the perfect partner on this project.
Yeah.
So I met Jenny at the studio. I brought, the teaser and my pitch ready to go.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and I let Jenny take it from her perspective, because...
Well, I don't think you were looking for more projects at the time.
You've heard that story already.
Well, you can tell people, but I think you were pretty busy.
I was pretty busy. I own a production company. We do television shows, film, and it was like an overwhelmingly busy time. Like really, it just things always happen like that. And I'm a strong believer that I want to go with what's happening in my life. And he walked in, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Did you know the Russian Five before this?
I did. I actually personally knew them. I came here in 1989, around the same time as Sergei. So they were a part of the Russian community. You know, they were big superstars outside of our world, but in our world, we went to the same restaurant, to the same grocery stores. I actually played soccer with the guys because we had on Sundays all the Russians would play soccer. I was in the Olympic development team, and I was the only I was a girl. I was a 15-year-old girl playing with Sergei and Vladdy and all those guys. Like, I was honing in my skills. So I knew the guys, and I've known them throughout the years. So. And they made us kind of famous because everybody thought Russians were cool all of a sudden. Because we were not that cool before. We were just the scary
you're
Russians.
kind of the enemy before.
Scary Russians.
Yeah, scary Russians.
You guys were the bad guys in the movies, that's all.
Right. And they made
How
us
is it now,
kinda
by the
cool.
way, with the political landscape? Are we supposed to have a Russian around here? Is this, we're not allowed to have Russians around anymore?
I don't know.
Donald
Russians
Trump.
are still the bad guys. Like,
No, they're
still...
not. We love Russians.
I mean, you love Russians. I don't know about anywhere else. I get on a plane, they're like, "Oh, you're from Detroit and you're Russian?"
Uh-oh.
People just like, wow, that's like triple, quadruple scary, not even double. So anyways, Josh came, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to go to one guy. If that one guy gives us the money, this is the omen. It's like, I have to do this. I cannot back out. So I went to Dan Milstein. He's a good friend. He owns the Gold Star Mortgage Companies.
He's a big deal.
But more importantly, he's become a big hockey agent at that time. So I pitched Dan, and he was in. So then I was committed. I had to do this.
He's got some big names on his roster too. I know he was who's the Datsuk's guy, right?
Yep, he started off with just Pavel Datsuk, and at the time I pitched him that he was only his agent, but now he's grown quite a bit. He's got some big players on his roster.
Kucherov and
Zaitsev and
Crazy. Do you think being Russian helped you make that decision? Like, if it wasn't about the Russian Five guys, was there something that drew you to the project more because it reminds you of home, or
100%. If he came over and he was like, "Let's make the Chinese fight," not that there's anything wrong with the
we're doing
with
the Yao Ming
Chinese,
story? Yeah,
like we're doing the story of like development of hockey in China. I'd be like, "Bye,
Get out.
Yeah, right? No,
hideous ugly face. Get out of here.
hideous ugly face. I don't believe that story, by the way.
Oh,
it's
100% true.
100%.
What mother
Absolutely.
calls their child hideous ugly?
One that wants the government to pay for its plastic surgery, or she's not taking it back. She's
This is
hideous,
not-
hideous ugly face.
So yes, 100%. Of course, it touched on my heartstrings. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. And how I pitched Dan, I looked at him. I said, "Listen, if you and I are not gonna make this, who will? This is the legacy. We owe it. We have to do this."
Yeah.
So-
it seems like someone should have done it before.
luckily they didn't.
You know what I mean? Like how this story, it's an amazing story.
Yeah.
It really is. So can you guys explain what the difference between a director and a producer is on a film? Because you're Jenny, the producer.
Yes.
And obviously Josh, you're the director. So what do those roles mean?
I think the creative vision and the ideas of how this movie is going to be, I have, and then I go to Jenny and I say, I need this and this and this to make it happen, and she
Makes it happen.
makes it happen for me, and
Yeah.
she gives me the tools that I need to execute the idea. And the producer is often the unsung hero of the film production, and they often
Yeah.
have to do a lot of the grunt work. But it's really the most important thing, because without the resources and anything, my ideas are just ideas.
Right.
They don't go anywhere.
Yeah, this seems, all documentaries seem like a massive puzzle, and there's a million ways you could put it together, but it's got to be just right to tell the story in the proper way. Jenny, is that like your job then? You go calling through hours of the interviews and you pick out or is that a separate editor who does that sort of thing?
No. So I do everything. So I'm going to put it that way. So if you ever seen that little boat that's like tugging the big one, so
Yeah.
that's me tugging a super humongous ship behind myself. And that's literally true. For every producer out there, they know exactly what this means. So everybody
Yeah.
is sitting in that boat, from directors to editors to musicians to, everybody. And when there's a crisis and meltdown and everything else, the producer has to stay calm and completely handle through
Handle it
and
all.
God knows we've had so many crises every single week. Me and Josh just looked at each other. We're like, can we just get a break one of these weeks?
Yeah.
She
So,
seems kind of strong-willed. She seems like she's in the right
She
position.
can handle
right?
it. Yeah.
well, there's days where I felt like I probably couldn't, honestly. We've been there. I've come very close to the days where I didn't know if we're going to see this through. But we drive, producers just drive everything that happens on this film. And it's an important job, because You have to keep the whole thing together, because if I fall apart, everything else will fall apart right behind me.
Well, it's interesting you put it like that, because I was a producer of the Drew and Mike show for 17 years, and people would often ask me, like, what does that mean? What do you do? And it's like, well, we do this and that, and then it got to the point where Mark and I, the other producer, was like, we would just tell people, anything you hear on the show that's not their voices, we're doing. We do everything else, as far as their voices, and then anything else you hear on the show, that's what the producers are doing. All the musics and drops and commercials, all
everything.
that shit.
And
You're
I mean,
handling
it's
a
to the
lot.
point. It's to the point where now we're in distribution, and we have a distributing partner for streaming, but we're doing theatrical distribution ourselves. So me and my other producing partner booked every single movie theater. Yes, you're looking at our team. We got 3.5 people doing the job of 50. I'm eating a taco. I'm hanging up a poster that the movie is playing. So literally, the hands touch everything, from our social media to everything.
Jay and I know what it's like to do like an event at a bar. It's like, oh my god, it almost kills us. Like just putting that together, it's like, oh, this sucks.
You have a lot of balls in the air, huh?
Yeah, I can only imagine what it's like to be dealing with all those theaters and.
I'm glad I have Jenny and Steve, because that's not my forte.
You handle all that stuff.
And while we were making this, so I managed to get pregnant, carry a child, give birth to a child. My child is now 14
It is not
months.
hideous ugly, is
It's
it?
not hideous, ugly face.
He is so not hideous. He is the opposite of hideous ugly.
That's what I thought.
Well, you own a production company,
Yes.
you mentioned, and it is called Arcadius Productions. Do I have that right?
Yes, that's actually one of my production companies.
One of.
Yes.
Yeah, you have plenty of them. And you live right down the street from me, you're like a neighbor here. I didn't even know, but Arcadius Productions, what do you guys do there?
So Arcadius Productions mostly does television productions, as far as and feature films as well. So
Yeah.
And is that the one doing Boy Howdy, the story of the Cream magazine?
actually, Boy Howdy, myself and my partner are executively producing Boy Howdy. It's already completed. It's coming out. We came on as executive producers to provide the funds for them to actually execute the completion of the film.
And that's the big headliner at this year's Free Film
100%.
Festival.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I was just at the premiere at South by, and that's going to be a huge movie.
Awesome.
You think
It's
so
a
when can
great
we see
story.
it? Can you give us a little sneak trailer or something?
For
Jay and
Boy-
I
Just
can check
email
out.
it to me.
Just email us a link or
Well,
something.
April 10th, you guys are going to be able to see it. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, April
it's
10th at
opening.
Fillmore.
I don't want to wait till April 10th. I want to see it now.
You want to see it?
Can I just come over later and you just pop it in for me? I want to be special.
Great. So that you want me to execute my powers like an
Yes.
executive producer. Give me the
Snap your
film.
fingers. Make it happen. You can do this.
I can tell you it's actually really good. Whether you're a
Yeah.
fan of Cream or not a fan of Cream, I did not know much about the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are really going to enjoy that.
No, it looks amazing. It has like vintage footage and photographs.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper, Gene Simmons, Peter Wolf.
Yep.
And a lot of musicians who were influenced by them. Michael Stipe, Kirk Hammett, Chad Smith. Just a lot of big
Wow.
names in it.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the other things you did, and we'll get back to the Russian Five. Don't worry, Josh is like, all right, enough. The show where you and your partner that you mentioned, I can't remember his name.
Gary.
You guys were entrepreneurs, and you're looking for advice from other entrepreneurs. How
Yep.
did you do this? And you start interviewing entrepreneurs. So I have that right around the country.
Yep.
And you're like, I think this is a TV show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so Startup is the name of.
Startup is the name of the show. So Arcadius Production produces Startup. That's our flagship. We're going into season 7, which I
Wow.
cannot believe. We've covered most of the United States. We've got millions of viewers around the country.
It's crazy.
And we basically go around the country. We interview entrepreneurs in a very casual, realistic way. So nobody's like makeup done like those celebrity entrepreneurs with hair flowing.
Yeah.
No, our people are like dirty, grimy, digging in
real
the
deal.
mud, the real deal. They will tell you how they got the money, which a lot of people don't talk about. They'll tell you about how they even named their business, marketed their business, picked a location. And it could be anything from a coffee shop all the way to a tech company and everything in between.
Yeah.
And we've pretty much covered the American landscape. We've got only a few states left. And this has been a tremendous experience because it really came from our curiosity.
And the cool thing is there's more than one entrepreneur in each state. So you can keep going. You know what I mean?
Endless. Yeah, the content is endless. Endless.
Yeah, that must have been like you must have learned so much just
Oh
from
my
talking
God.
to all those people.
So by now, because I cast that show and I produced that show, so at this point I've talked to over 500 entrepreneurs in depth around the country, understanding what it really takes to open and run a business. So the wealth of information that we carry is tremendous.
Really? And so what are we doing wrong here? What makes a good entrepreneur? What is there like a thing where you go, oh yeah, these four elements are the same?
Sure, I will tell you what I believe.
All right, here's the secret sauce.
Here's the secret. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
So
Yes.
everybody talks about passion, ideas, this and that, right?
Fuck that.
It's fuck
out
that.
the window.
Fuck that. It's bullshit. You know why? There's only one thing. It's execution. Okay.
Who do we have to execute?
Whoever, hopefully not the Russians.
Not the
Pick
Russians.
somebody else. It's execution, right? Everybody's got an idea, everybody's got a plan. You have to be able to execute on your plan, on your idea. You got to work hard, you got to see it through. That's the key to when I look at people who are successful versus to people who have ideas. Because you can get the money, you can get the mentorship. There is a million people I met with amazing business ideas, and they've executed them well, they're successful. People who didn't execute well, they usually fail. And 80% of small businesses fail, by the way, within the first 5 years of opening.
Yeah. So we just want to chase money. Is that a good first step?
Sure, you can strip for that. I hear there's a lot of money in that.
There's the execution right there.
Well, also, Jenny, is it true you came to America with $100 in a suitcase? Is that a true story?
100%. 6 suitcases between 3 of us and $100. Yes, that's
my
all we
God.
had.
And how do you get into being an entrepreneur and in film industry and Hollywood? And like, how does that happen for someone coming over to this country with $100 in a suitcase? I mean, it's the ultimate American dream.
It's I'm an overnight success, 30 years in the making.
Sure.
You know, America, and I love this country. I will never get tired of saying this, honestly, and I feel it from the bottom of my heart. This is the only place you can come to with $100 and 6 suitcases and become anything you want to become if you really want to.
Thank you.
There's a roadmap here. Everything is here. You can do anything. You can have a dream. You can have a dream. You could be
Yeah.
a boy that broke his back and be inspired by something. And then 7 years later, I don't care that it took 7 years, you can walk into a movie theater tomorrow. You can have thousands of people watch your dream come true.
Yeah.
That can happen in America. There's not a lot of places that can happen in.
It's amazing. And
100%.
it kills us when we see people that are like, oh, they're born in America and they
This
take that
place
for granted.
sucks.
Oh man, they're looking for handouts and they want the government to pay for shit. And it's like, dude, you've been given the ticket. You go do it. Do you. Do anything you want.
My mother is always fascinated when she sees people like that because she goes, but they speak the language. Because that's the biggest thing. You come here, you don't understand things. Like, we didn't understand anything. Imagine you land in another country, you don't understand the food. You don't understand anything that's happening. You don't
You
understand the
didn't
language.
speak English when you got here?
No, I knew how to say for some reason what time it is. That's about it. Like, as if that's useful. Like, what do I care what time it is? I don't know
Very,
why.
very punctual. That's all we know. We know Jenny. She's just on time.
No, we did not know anything. And we had we had a hard time in school. We didn't have any clothes. We didn't have any money. I mean, it was like a lot of things were just fascinating. But you know what it is? It's hard work. I got my first job when I was 14 years old, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
You build it. It's step by step by step.
Did
go
you know
towards
what you
your-
wanted to do?
Hell no. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many things I've done in my life? God, I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've owned a resale shop in Hamtramck when I was 18 years old. I was a concert promoter. I had a kitchen door showroom. I was a house music DJ for many years. Yeah.
You did a documentary on female DJs, didn't
Yeah,
you?
it's still in the works. Yeah, I was a DJ for many
Girl
years.
Gone Vinyl?
Girls Gone Vinyl.
Girls
yeah.
Gone Vinyl, yeah.
Yeah.
So like house music, like techno house
You
music?
woke Eric up.
Yeah, like for real.
Really?
Get on your feet tomorrow.
I want to talk to you after the show about this.
Yeah, let's
very
talk. I
interested.
mean, yeah, I've played all over the world. I mean, that's what I did. So I've done a million
Jesus.
things, and some of them have failed, some succeeded, and that's another trick in business. Don't be afraid of failure. Everybody's gonna fail. You walk out the door, you're probably gonna fail 20 times by the time you get to your destination.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Recover.
I love it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. It's a perfect attitude.
It's a game of mistakes.
By the way,
Simply recover.
I know like a year ago you guys were planning on, you were looking for the next big reality star. Are you guys still doing that?
Yes, always.
Because there he is. This fucking
found him.
insane person right here. He's
Yes.
fucking insane.
He is? Okay,
Yes.
I like him already.
You need to talk to this dude. I'm telling you, he's the weirdest fucking dude I've ever met.
Let's do it.
He's been with me for 9 years now.
Well, you should.
Because- yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't normally say this just because of the charity aspect, but here's an example. Like we've done this twice now on this show, where we've raised money for a homeless shelter, And how we did it is I slept in a tent on his yard
Oh, that's
for
you.
4 days in a row. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. Last time I was here, they were. I was gonna visit you, but I was so tired.
Yeah.
I was
that
like,
was
I
okay.
should go in that tent, but okay.
But I think I got it. I think I could. I think you already
Yeah.
found it. I think your search is over. Personally.
I like it.
Raised $82,000 in just over a year for
Wow.
homeless in Detroit with this dude. You know, but people are like, yeah, you know, I'll give you $50 if you take a piss into a cup and drink it. Okay. Give you $100 if you take a shit on Mike's driveway. We made a little poster with a bullseye and had him take a shit in the driveway. I mean,
So you just do whatever. You're down for
Yes.
whatever.
he's
Yes.
down for
Okay.
whatever.
Anything.
That's a good show. Down for whatever.
Down for whatever.
I mean, I
there
do
we go.
comedy. I do this podcast. I literally have no shame. So
I see you. I see you, my next reality TV
There you go.
star.
The search is over. Let's see. I've got my notes all over the place, so bear with me, you guys.
Yeah, I want to make sure people know what Mike said at the beginning. First 5 people to, or the 5th person to email me,
Yeah.
jay@detroitcast.com. Let me just make that clear so we're dealing with the right email, jay@detroitcast.com. 5th person will get tickets to the Russian 5 premiere red carpet event. All funds go to support Vladdy. These are great value. The tickets are $160 each, and you get a lot
Yeah.
with it. So email in fifth email to jay@detroitcast.com.
And you can see it at Imagine Theaters starting today. That's Novi, Canton, Birch Run, Birmingham, Rochester Hills, Royal Oak, Macomb, Saline, Heartland, and then, you know, obviously the big red carpet premiere tomorrow. I noticed it's also, you guys got it into some theaters in Denver.
Yeah.
I saw the Denver Post had a story today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any reaction at all from Colorado folks?
Yeah, some of the Colorado media love the movie already,
Yeah.
so we'll see how the average fan responds to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, when we were submitting to film festivals, there was one in particular that I remember. Programmer responded back and was like, you know, I don't know if it's right for our audience, but you should know, I grew up a Colorado Avalanche fan, hating the Red Wings, and I actually really enjoyed this movie, and you kind of made me like them. So that's a victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that an easy decision? Like, we've got to have this thing shown in Colorado. I mean, it makes sense in Red Wing markets, you know,
Yeah.
to take off, but I mean, they're the bad guy in this film.
We love
In
it.
a lot
We're
of
like,
I
let's
know.
get some hate watching going. We know our marketing.
Yeah, were people receptive though? Like film houses or what? I don't even know where it is. If it's only in one or a couple.
It's
Alamo
playing
Draft
at
House.
Alamo Draft House in Denver and Icon in Colorado Springs. They were very receptive.
Yeah.
They jumped on board long ago. They were like right away, yes, we'll take it.
Yeah.
So we're not just in Colorado. We're expanding. We're going to be in Vegas. We're going to be in Arizona, Columbus, Pittsburgh. So we're spreading our wings here. And I think after this weekend, when we bring in huge box office, thanks to our Red Wing fans in Michigan,
right.
some
It
people
better.
some people will start picking up our phone calls much faster. So we're
There you
hoping
go.
for that. But yeah, Denver is going to be interesting because we got to see what's going to happen after they see it.
Right.
So far, we're trending. People are going to see it.
That's awesome.
So we haven't seen what the reaction of a general fan is going to be.
It's not like you guys take swipes at their team. You know, you just
No.
tell
Just
the
Club
other
them,
team's
you.
story. Yeah, well, everybody knows
and he
his
deserved
deal.
it. I mean, he did. Even he knows that.
So I think if they give it a watch, yeah, most people would come away going, "Oh, it was a really good story."
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully it humanizes
Yeah.
these guys that were their enemy
Right.
for so long, and,
Well-
and they see the other side.
It definitely did that with the Russian 5 players themselves.
Right.
Because there were language barriers when they first got here, and they were quiet.
Right.
They kept to themselves. So, while Darren McCarty was vocal all over and calling radio stations, these guys weren't. And so you didn't really know them. You respected their game and the way they played on the ice, but you really get to see some personality in this film.
Yeah.
I don't know if that surprised you guys when you were filming it.
I mean, that's what you hope. When you sit these guys down, they're going to crack open a little bit and show you who they are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just preparation and getting that interview and getting in there. And
Which was the hardest one to get?
to get the interview or to get him
Yeah.
to open up?
Both. Sergey?
Sergey,
Sergey's
probably.
tough.
And that was scheduling wise, and we were.
I mean, and we went to Russia to film Sergei
Yeah.
and Fetisov and Kozlov. I mean, that in itself is a big endeavor.
When we left, we got on the plane, Detroit to Moscow. Those 3 guys had sent emails saying, yes, we will do it, but we didn't know when or where, any
Really?
details. So Jenny and I are both,
So it's just open ended. Let's just go there.
Let's
and
just go to Moscow.
figure it out.
make it
Yep,
work.
yep.
So I remember morning after we arrived, and Slava Fetisov had texted us the night before, like, I'm going to call you at noon to let you know when we'll do this. So it was like this weird, like, step.
Yeah.
And we're having breakfast with our executive producer, and he's like, okay, what's the score? And we're like,
We don't know.
Hoping to get a call here soon.
right,
Let us know.
And so then when he finally calls us, it's, this, well, were we going to do the interview? We can't, so you have like an hour, 2 hours
hour
to
to find
figure
a
out
new
a new
spot.
location.
Why would the first location not work?
This is construction or something.
Oh, yeah.
But so, for me, again, this is also like the division of labor between the director and the producer. I'm completely useless in that situation.
Yeah.
We're in Moscow.
Well, let's go home.
Right,
She's like, fuck you, we got this.
I'm just like, I don't know where we could shoot because I've never been here before.
Yeah.
And Dan, who's, he's been there all the time. He's like, there's a beautiful shot of the Kremlin from the rooftop bar, the Ritz-Carlton downtown Moscow. And I'm like, yeah, that's
Ritz-Carlton,
awesome.
let's go.
Sure. And if you can make that happen, and I'm thinking like, okay, where the fuck are we really going to shoot this?
Yeah.
And Jenny and Raisa got on the phone and
Made it happen.
yeah.
Yeah, I was actually freaking out. I did not tell anybody when he called. We have an hour. I was freaking out because I have never worked in Moscow in that capacity. So luckily, Raisa, who was with us, she worked there quite a bit. So she called the Ritz-Carlton downtown Moscow, said that Fetisov is coming. They need to clear the floor because he's probably coming with Putin. So we totally 100%. That's exactly what she said because there's no other way
Nonchalant. He's coming with
humanly possible to get a Ritz-Carlton downtown Moscow overlooking the Red Square to shut down the whole entire floor of that hotel.
Oh my God.
So she told them Putin was coming. So they're like, yeah, okay, let's get this party started. So in 1 hour we were overlooking the Kremlin.
Nobody double checked that?
Well, I think
By the time they did,
Well,
we
the
were
story
there.
You were
was-
halfway through your
Yeah.
interview with Fetisov.
the story was believable because Fetisov and him are friends.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
teaches him how to play hockey. But I mean, she had some balls on her to say that.
Yeah, I'd say. What are the hardships of shooting in a place like Moscow? I mean, you're taking equipment over there on a plane. No?
No, we arranged for equipment
This
there.
was Jenny and Rice's experience where, I might have made the same mistake that Gabe Pulaski made with Red Army, which is bringing my gear over and getting it stuck in customs.
Yeah.
And Jenny was right away said, no, we're going to hire local people. Just give me a gear list of what you need.
Yeah.
We're going to get it locally so we don't have to mess with that. And yeah, and the challenge, like language, right? So I don't speak Russian without her and Raisa. We don't get around. But the most challenging thing, I think, was when we sat down with Slava Kozlov, who, for him, English is not a functional language anymore.
Oh, really?
He wanted to do the interview in Russian, which would have been fine if we would have known the day before and we could have prepped, but we didn't. So it was running away where I would ask the questions in English, and for the most part, he'd understand them, but he would respond in Russian, and Jenny was just over my shoulder, like, either
Said
nodding
this.
her head, like, okay, we got it, or she would, like, take out her phone and, like, write a follow-up, like, he said this, but you might want to ask him this.
Yeah.
Communicating with me and just
So there was just
shorthand.
something subtle in the way he answered where you knew
Yeah,
he's
the
not
language.
answering the question that
Right.
Josh is really looking to answer.
All right,
Answer.
language, and then Moscow traffic is horrible.
yeah.
Jesus Christ, that place sucks. I mean, like, really, we're running to get Fetisov at another place. It
No,
was
the
like
book
to get
signing,
from
yeah.
point A. It's like worse than LA.
Yeah.
Seriously, 10 times worse than LA.
So, Josh, without Jenny there on site with you,
You're
how does
fucked.
this even you hire liaisons of some sort
mean,
to
in-
try to navigate this whole thing?
In theory, that's what you would do, but in
That would never
reality,
work.
yeah. Or you'd end up paying 10 times what
Yeah.
you should have because, they're going to take advantage of the green Americans
Sure.
who don't know what's up. And
Is
yeah.
when someone Russians see you filming at the Ritz, is someone paying attention? Like, what are you shooting here? I want to see that film. Or does anyone care? They just
Oh, in Russia, people care tremendously. I mean, actually, in our social, the second biggest city after Detroit is Moscow. So we're trending really big in Russia right now, and we
Really?
actually cannot wait to take it there.
Yeah.
People are very excited.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys live there, and I think Russians are proud of the fact of what these guys
Oh.
accomplished and that they moved back. And
Yeah.
you know, they're
Absolutely.
part
Think of it in our terms. If 5 Americans
Americans,
went over and
sure.
did something like that, we would
Yeah.
absolutely be
of
all over that
course.
story.
And does it work well? I mean, if you guys are having to redo the language throughout the whole film, right? I mean,
No, I mean, so far I've showed it. We're shopping it there now. The people that have seen it from television, people who are in the film realm, they love it.
yeah.
I don't know if it gets bought, if we'll have to dub it or do something with it. Most likely,
have to dub it.
yeah.
Yeah. God, I'm trying to think, Jay. That's interesting. I don't know. Has there ever been a story like that in reverse where a group of American guys all end up in another country and then end up being as successful as the Russian five players were? I can't think of a single one.
I mean, Americans really don't move to other places.
Yeah, I mean,
That's true.
the only thing that would somewhat equate is if like American soccer players are trying to go play internationally, and there just hasn't been that success.
They're not,
Yeah.
they're not that great.
I understand.
Yeah,
Which I
it's
think
not
shows
really
you
happening.
again the promise of America.
Yeah.
Which is the place where you can come to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think some basketball guys achieved success in other leagues, but
but they're
Yeah.
viewed as lesser because
Right.
those leagues are lesser.
Those leagues
so
aren't
if
as
you have to go
competitive as
play
the
in
NHL or
Greece,
NBA.
or you need to go play in China or whatever, it's like, you kind of sucked because you couldn't play
You
here.
couldn't make it
Yeah.
in the NBA, so yeah. Or you're too young.
Right.
to get
Yeah, you're
drafted
playing
and
in
you're
France
stick-
because
yeah.
you can't make it in the NBA.
and
you know?
nobody plays that game where people throw the football. I just still don't understand
Tackle
why
ball.
it's called
It's called
American
tackle ball.
football, where they
We
don't
call it
play with
tackle
the
ball.
tackle
We've
ball.
renamed
Oh,
it tackle
ah,
ball
tackle
so
ball.
that
Yeah.
soccer can
so
have its rightful
nobody in
name
the
of football.
world plays the tackle ball. So
Too slow, too slow, too many rules.
I love tackle ball. It's my favorite sport. It really is. But I understand what you're saying. It's, ugh. So I imagine when you're shooting a film like this over as long a period, you must have mountains of material, and so much of that hits the editing room floor.
Yeah.
Were there things that you just couldn't make it work? Whether it was the storyline that you were following, that is like, God, this would be great if people could see this scene, or whatever. Anything that jumps out at you that you?
Yeah, three of my favorite scenes ended up getting cut for various reasons. So the first one, there's this incredible story where Igor and Slava Fetisov in 1987, while they're still with the Red Army team, end up going to Wayne Gretzky's house for a barbecue. And Gretzky offers them a beer, but because Tikhonov's there, they can't. So Walter Gretzky...
Who's Tikhonov?
Tikhonov's the
handler?
the
Red Army.
the coach.
Oh, the
Red
coach.
Army
Oh,
coach.
okay.
hard ass,
Yeah.
dude who just put him in, the military barracks 11 months out of the air.
Yeah.
So Walter Gretzky, Wayne's father, says, Igor, why don't you go down in the basement and look at the trophy case? They had a keg in the basement. So Wayne had a friend stay up at the top of the stairs while Igor and Slava and Wayne shared sort of this beer in secret. And, to me, it's a great sort of example of like the little pleasures that these guys didn't have, them being aware of them now, but
So why would he not want them to drink anything? I mean,
because there are rules. Russian people have rules.
I
You
know, but
must-
they have vodka. Vodka's everything in Russia. Why would
there's time and place for everything. You don't drink with the Canadians.
if being
and
at
there's
Wayne
a-
Gretzky's house isn't fucking for a barbecue, isn't a good enough reason to have a couple beers? What is?
It's control. He
Yeah.
wanted to have control.
he was a mastermind at it. So, that story got cut only because we decided in the edit that we were going to stick with the Red Wings perspective in the first act versus bouncing back and forth between this is what Jimmy D and Mike Ilitch are trying to do with the Wings and this is what's happening in the Soviet Union. We thought, let's just introduce Slava and Igor as they come to the Red Wings and backtrack their history a bit. But we didn't want to throw too many Russian names in the first act. So when we made the decision, that scene got cut.
God, the puzzle of it all.
I
man.
know,
There's
isn't it
just-
crazy?
There's so many good things. I love Josh. If it was up to him, this would be a 5-hour film.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep, and there would be lots of great stories. But
Yeah.
movie business is a business, so we
Yeah.
gotta.
Were there decisions though? You guys are going. This scene has to stay in it, and it's for whatever reason you lose that fight.
Well, Jenny, are you the one on the other end of it going, no, we're taking it out? This is
No,
what it's-
I was giving birth at that moment, so I was not involved in that part of it. So I trusted the creative vision of other
Yeah,
producers
okay.
that were there. So of course there's creative people, and if you're creative, you want to fight till the end for your creative vision, right? And then we're like the dream squashers. So I mean,
Well, having
there
it-
was Steve and Jason. They were fighting with
Jason and
Joss.
I were so Jason, our producer in Austin, was sort of the post producer, and then our editor David, and so Steve.
So having a good editor. I mean, you must have. I mean, having a good editor is
That was key.
critical.
And David is an incredible editor because the way it worked, and this is why he's so incredible, is Steve was he was managing all the stuff, and so creatively it was Jason, David, and I. And Jason was someone who actually was involved in the project. He helped me create the pitch book 7 years ago when I was in Austin. So he knew what my vision was before I got stuck in the mud with production and falling in love with certain things. So he always told me, I'm going to push you to make the film that you told me you wanted to make from the beginning.
Yep.
So that was his position.
Keep you on track.
Keep me on track and not let me get sidetracked by some of these great stories. So him and I would have these like great arguments where we'd be arguing over a point of like, well, this is why it needs to be this way. And he'd come back, well, this is why it doesn't work that way. And like, if you do this, you're losing this. And so he would kind of throw these other perspectives at me. And David, the editor, would sit there and he'd listen to both of us very quietly. And Jason and I would get more and more, heated over these ideas, and in a good way,
Yeah.
And usually Jason would just be like, I gotta go send an email, and he'd leave the room, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna go get a poke bowl and think about this.
Yeah.
And we'd both leave, and
Come
David
back.
would sit there and he'd start messing around, and I'd come back in the room and he'd be like, hey, let's look at this.
Yeah.
And what David would do would listen to what I, as the director, wanted the message to convey. But then he'd also listen to Jason, figuring out like what are the pros and cons and how do we push that idea that Josh wants to work. And so I'd be for A, Jason would be for B, and David would come up with C.
Yeah.
Neither of us got our way. David would find a way to kind of make the idea work as a whole. And, and that's the creative process of having a good editor, is someone who listens to you, but finds those things that, okay, the big idea works, but maybe we don't need every single little piece of that.
Yeah, and that's hard to do when you're editing.
It's very hard
like
to do.
to edit an interview. For me, if Jay and I do an interview and it's like, it's an hour, I wish it was 40 minutes.
Right.
And it's like, where can I just take 20 minutes out of this thing? And you start listening to it and it's almost like that one line in there is funny. I want to keep that.
Right.
But in order to keep that, I need to keep the 3 minutes previous to make that make sense.
Right.
It's a bitch to do.
Oh, it's a tedious job. Like, I'd kill myself if I was an editor. Seriously.
It's
just
brutal.
like, if it was the last job on earth, I don't know if I could do it. It's so hard.
It's very, very hard. And then you cut something, and then it's like, shit, now this part that I really wanted to keep doesn't make sense without that setup from 5 minutes ago that I already blew out. Like, it's a puzzle.
It is.
That people don't really understand how involved it. I mean, the wrong editor can fuck up an entire movie.
Oh, yes, we know that.
Did that happen or not? Did you guys burn through an editor or two?
Yes, several.
Ask us again after this theatrical run.
So wait a minute, hold on. No, I'm not going to do that. We're going to talk about this right now, Russian lady. So how far into the edit did you get? Did you get done like, here's the film, and you guys went, fuck?
Pretty much.
Really? And then it's like, start over.
We've started over in this process several times. Let's just leave it at that.
It was like Goldilocks and the 3 editors, where we had the first editors who were
And
just
some people brought some good things to the table.
Sure, nice try.
In their defense, they brought. It just things have to. They have to align. Things have to happen. It's just like the moon and the stars, and everything has to align. And that's what I always told Josh. When we would get frustrated, I would just like, everything happens for a reason. This is leading us down the path that there will be silver lining at the end of it all. I know it.
Well, let me say this, right? Going through the editors that we went through, that process that was frustrating. By the time we got to Austin to finish the movie with David, the editor, my ego had been obliterated because of all that stuff, where I basically reached the point where I was open to every idea. I was no longer being precious about it. It was like, okay.
What was that? Was that just frustration? Was that
no,
just...
it was just going through the process and realizing that, like, this is a creative effort. And once we got to Austin, I had collaborators who were willing to bring creative ideas to the table. I trusted them. I mean, that's the reason I chose to bring Jason and David in, is I trusted them. So I got to the point where I was like, well, if I trust these guys, why the fuck am I not going to listen to their creative ideas? Like, that's the whole point of collaborative art, is each of us is bringing a different perspective.
Somebody's got to be calling the shots at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Making the call.
And that's my
at
job.
Right. Yeah.
Well, creatively.
Looking at both of them.
Yeah. And a lot of us creatively, I'm calling the shots, but there's also times where I'm asking for things and Jenny's saying, we got to finish shooting. Like, we got to just put it in the can. And yes, that would be great to get this person and that person as well, but do we really need it? And the truth is, a lot of those times, like, well, and make it better, But you're right, we don't need it.
Who are a
Yeah,
couple?
you just have to finish it.
Who are a couple
I
former
mean,
players or coaches that you wish you could have gotten?
My biggest regret that we didn't get, and it was only because of timing, is Dougie Brown. You know, and it just didn't work out when we started the project. He was living here. He moved to New York. We never had an opportunity to travel to New York, and when we thought we might, we were just so deep in the edit that we just like, let's just finish it instead of trying to, you know, fill some pieces.
And Doug Brown, for those who forget, he was kind of the one who first took those guys under his wing. And
he was the unofficial,
the unofficial
Sixth
Russian.
Beatle leader. Yeah. So,
well, it's the editing process always fascinates me. The whole thing, because we've all seen that movie where it's like they could have killed a half hour. Why did that whole weird plot line? And you know, someone was just, you know, fell in love with whatever this shitty part of the story was, and kept it in. I love that this movie just flowed from start to finish. It's awesome. And my biggest pet peeve is getting too excited for a movie that I think I'm going to love, and then it lets me down. This movie will not let you down. I mean, I think people are going to absolutely adore this film, especially around here. I really mean that. And we'll get a good glimpse this weekend to see what people's reaction is for sure.
Hey, and congratulations to James Metz, who won the couple tickets there to the red carpet event on Friday at Imagine.
James.
Nice. Yeah. So James will make sure that you are that you know how to get the tickets and that goes all smooth. Yeah.
Anything good for a blooper reel, or are you guys thinking about a DVD set that comes out?
I mean, we've got deleted scenes, so like that Igor Gretzky scene. Like,
what were the other two, really quick?
So really quick, there's a scene where Sergei Fedorov goes to Guns N' Roses concert, and they recognize him, and he gets backstage and he hangs out with them, and he talks about it. You know, like everyone was there except for Axl, and Axl was in a secluded room, and every now and then he'd come out and get some champagne and shrimp and go back to that room. It was normal. And so, you know, and to
me, he wearing a Guns N' Roses hat in one of the scenes up by the riverfront?
Sergei fucking loved Guns N' Roses big time. In fact,
so do we.
You don't, because we don't use the audio. Oh, there's a little piece, but there's some home video stuff where if you were to hear the whole audio, Sergei's singing Guns N' Roses.
Really?
Yeah, and Vladdy's trying to play it, but he doesn't know how to play guitar, so he like plays a chord. So you know, they love Guns N' Roses, and to me, it was a great scene about he's becoming Americanized.
Yeah.
But we had the scene with the Corvette, and when it came down to it, you know, David was like, "Look, we got to pick one. Which one do you want to keep?" And obviously, it was the Corvette, and you know, they cut it, and I watched it, and I was like, "Man, you're fucking right. We don't need it." So deleted scene, you know.
Yeah.
The other one, which was actually one of the most intense arguments between David and I, the only time David like raised his voice at all in production is Game 4, Stanley Cup Finals. The team's nervous, and Dave Lewis tells a story where the puck drops, and Scotty Bowman all of a sudden was like, "Hey, Dave, isn't that Gordie Howe over there by the penalty box? Why is he doing there? How's he going to see the game? Shouldn't he be up in the box with the Illiches? There's room up there." And Dave Lewis is telling the story about how as Gordie Howe is doing this, or excuse me, Dave Lewis is doing that, or Scotty's telling Dave this.
Yeah.
The rest of the bench is paying attention, and Dave's like, "Scotty, the game's on."
Yeah.
But the players
calmed everybody down.
Calming down.
Yeah.
And so David and I went back and forth, and what's in there now for Game 4 is Jeff Daniels' perspective. You know, about the idea of we've been waiting for this. They've broken our hearts so many times. And I wanted to try to force both of those ideas in there. And David argued very, very strongly that we need to jump back to the fan perspective right now.
Yeah.
And he made the argument that it would be stronger if we just only had that and not include that thing. And then, you know, he's like, you know, but also like, how many people will know who Gordie Howe is? And I was like, well, Red Wings fans know. And he reminded me, he's like, but we're trying to make a movie beyond that. So do we want to, you know, spend the extra 30 seconds to explain Gordie Howe?
Right.
And those arguments.
Because you'd have to do that. You'd have to explain, by the way, Gordie Howe was.
Because, you know, for the Red Wings fans, yes, but to expand, no. And so when he made those arguments, you know, it was very strong. And I thought about it. I'm like, all right, let's see it without. He spent the afternoon cutting the Jeff Daniels scene the way it is, and he showed it to me, and I was like,
and Jeff's great.
Oh, Jeff's awesome.
He's great.
He's awesome.
He brings it home,
He's awesome.
It's interesting that there's a famous scene in the Super Bowl tackle ball game where I think it's the 49ers are playing maybe Cincinnati, and it's the final drive of the game. You got 2 minutes to go down and score the winning touchdown, and the team's in a huddle and they're just fucking freaking out. And the quarterback comes into the huddle, Joe Montana, and says, "Isn't that John Candy eating popcorn in the front row over there?" And the team, it just like everybody's like, "Fuck, this is the biggest moment of our lives." And the quarterback, the guy that's our leader, notices John Candy, the movie star, having popcorn. It calmed everybody down. It just was like, took all the pressure off. It wasn't like, oh.
I should use that.
Yeah,
Next time people are freaking out.
Well,
yeah, just find a celebrity somewhere and point them out. Be like, "Isn't that so and so?"
Darren always says, Scotty's greatest attribute was his psychological mind games. He's the greatest psychologist, and he understood the psychology in that moment, which is, I could give us a speech and come on, guys, this is the moment, and
rah.
That might actually make him more nervous.
Yeah.
But this sort of like, I'm paying attention to something that doesn't matter. It worked, you know, and
yeah, it's interesting when you talk to Darren about the coaches, because he'll say, who does he say is the best coach he's ever had? It's
Thought it was
Mike.
Scotty.
No, it was Mike. The coach. He's with Toronto now. Babcock. As far as coaching, but he says psychologically, another planet with Scotty Bowman.
Yeah.
Totally different guys, completely.
I mean, Scotty he has an effect on everyone, whether you're a player or you're trying to interview him for a film or the media. He was always notoriously hard on the media.
Yeah.
So he's just, I don't know, he's like a Jedi master.
It's like that Robert California effect to the guy from The Office.
Yeah.
You familiar with that character? No, sorry.
They were too busy.
I digress.
Well, good luck, you guys.
Thank you.
The Russian5.com/red carpet. If people want to buy tickets to the red carpet premiere tomorrow night, it's going to be awesome. Food and cocktails, and Vladdy will be there. I'm assuming D-Mac will be there.
Yep.
You guys will be there. Maybe some autographed posters to give away.
Yep.
All kinds of stuff. It's going to be a really neat event. And that's the place to be, definitely, in Metro Detroit tomorrow, is the Imagine Royal Oak for that. So.
Yeah, and then, we're
General
playing
tickets.
everywhere, so the Russian5tickets.com.
The Russian5tickets.
Yeah, and Saturday we're actually going to be in Ann Arbor. So if anybody's in Ann Arbor, myself and Josh and Dan are going to be doing a Q&A. We're at Michigan Theater, so that's a big deal.
Pack that.
You guys getting tired of answering the same questions about this movie?
No, we love it.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
It's got to be rewarding.
I like that
get
you
to this
ask
point.
fresh questions today.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the same interview we did last time. It's fun to have you in here. And I want to do a whole nother hour with you just on some of the frontline shit you did for PBS back in the day. I mean, traveling the world and filming stuff. And you too, Missy. We could have some fun in here. You're
Yeah, for
hilarious.
sure.
Sounds
Thank
interesting,
you.
doesn't she?
She's a fucking
You
interesting
could
person.
peel that
Thank you.
onion.
Yes, Jenny Feterovich. It's my neighbor, Jenny Feterovich. And Josh Riehl. Congratulations, guys. I know it's a
Thanks,
labor
man.
of love.
Thank you for all your support.
Yeah, of course. It's
Thank
a
you.
great film, and I hope a lot of people go out and see it. It's at all the Imagine theaters, and you can find it
Everywhere, man.
You can find it. So thanks, you guys, for coming in, and we'll check back with you next week and see if you guys are going insane or if you guys are happy. So
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys.
okay, absolutely. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break. Now, bitches, here are Mike and Jay.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Mike and Jay. Sorry it took a little while there. Just talking to Jenny and Josh upstairs for a bit. God damn, they were great.
Very good.
Just great. And
They made a great film, no doubt about it.
yeah, Jenny was cracking me up something like fucking crazy, man. She's like, her and Josh are upstairs talking about like the process of, you know, when they were doing the original, not dailies, but when they're putting together, like, here's what we've shot, and they would have to send it to, you know, the funding guys and lawyers and shit like that, the people that were backing it. And it's like, oh, dude, the emails we would get back, it was just like, you'd send this, and Josh was describing it like a 4-hour lump of clay. Like, this is what we're working with. And they would just get back like, this is shit, period. Not a hello, not a hi. This is shit.
Well, you get to
period.
that point probably where they don't have to do the "how's your day going," right? They just kind of, no,
chase.
dude, I don't have time to pretend I care about what
This
you ate
is
for
shit.
breakfast.
What the fuck did I just look at? Period. Send. It's like the early process. You can only imagine what a nightmare. And so to see them turn out what they have, it's great. I really think people will enjoy it. So
I would agree.
yeah.
Hey, everybody, it's March. That means Gabara and the lovely leprechauns at Zotford and Holly are sharing their pot of gold with all of our lucky listeners. Lease a new 19 Ford all-wheel drive Escape or new 19 Ford EcoSport as low as $82 a month. Yup, that's $82. Or lease a new 19 Ford Edge or new 19 Ford F-150 Super Crew 4x4 as low as $97 a month. Zott Ford keeps the green in your pocket. Take advantage of these charming payments before they disappear.
Do you want to do another read, Jay? Did we get backed up on those? I don't know
We
if you
are
did any.
Backed up. Wasik Insurance. We all need insurance, don't we? But no, most of us don't even know what kind of coverage we have or who provides it. Let fellow TDC listener Brent Wasik from Wasik Insurance Services change all that. Brent has over 30 years in the business. He offers all types of insurance coverage, auto, home, health, life, business, commercial, and more. Call Brent Wasik at 734-455-1900.
Well, I don't know what to get into next. It is History Day with Big E. We could get our learn on. if
I'm
you
a
wanted,
visual
Jay.
learner.
I
Isis,
I
are
do
you
have some.
prepared
I
for
do
that?
have some images this time.
You do? Should
Yeah,
we
let's do that.
You want to do that?
Hell yeah.
All right. All right, Isis, you ready to teach us something?
This music couldn't be any. I need to come
this
in.
Dude,
It's not.
we
It's
need
my
to-
fault too. I need
no,
to come
it's
in.
my fault. This shit music. It's shit.
Well,
it is absolute shit.
Well, it origins in the fact that originally these were going to be about. I was intrigued with the Civil War and stuff, so these were originally kind of going to be like that, and now I've obviously morphed it a little
It's
bit.
really your sweet spot, the Civil War.
It certainly is the Civil War, or the American Revolution,
This makes no sense when you're talking about like the first hotel opening,
or maybe
You know
the
what I
first rock and roll concert ever.
Yeah, makes even less sense for that.
So that, so
Unless it was Paul Revere. Otherwise,
But
Oh,
it was
look at a
this.
rock concert.
It was this day, March 21st, 1952, was the first. What's known, I suppose, what's kind of known or recognized as the first rock and roll concert ever in Cleveland. It wasn't. I mean, I suppose there could have, I'm sure that someone could technically dig down and say, well, technically this club's
Yeah,
charged.
how do they say this is when rock and roll started?
Well, this is the
Right
reason.
here.
This is the reason they say this is it. And again, maybe you could say like, oh, what, someone
what
paid
year
$10.
did you say 53?
52.
1952.
Again, like I said, someone might be able to be like, I paid $10 cover for a club and saw a band, and that was a concert. But the reason they claim that this is kind of the first one ever was rock and roll was just, it just wasn't, it was still like the segregated thing really came into play where white kids were just not listening. It was like you'd go to the record store and it was like the music and then the colored music, you know what I mean? So like,
Oh,
they,
that's
well, I'm saying,
wow.
but this is
Strong
1950s,
language.
man. This isn't
Trigger.
Boy, oh
so-
boy. Direct your email to
Eric at
Eric at
DetroitCast.com.
DetroitCast.com if you were offended by that.
But the reason this is I actually did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at one point on one of my This Day in Histories, and that was the reason the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was in Cleveland. One of the reasons was they claim Cleveland is the birth of rock and roll because of the DJ that finally coined
Right.
the term rock and roll. And so he had
And his name was?
something Reed. I have it here. Alan Freed. Alan Freed.
sure.
And so what he said, he had a buddy that was working a record store, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, white kids started to go check out this rhythm and blues kind of section.
Chubby Checker and shit.
And
the
but
Fats
it,
Dominoes of the world.
exactly. This is where Fat Dominoes came from. but for whatever reason, they finally start like getting into this, and the record dealer goes to Freed, or the record store owner, goes to Freed and's like, dude, these kids are starting to really legit get into this. So his record store sponsors a midnight, like, overnight show at the rock and roll at this station that Alan Freed had just been playing classical music as like a DJ, like, oh, we got the Beethoven coming up, you know, or whatever, and so now he starts
new hot off the presses hit from Beethoven,
right? But he starts doing like a midnight to 3 a.m. kind of thing, an overnight show, and it legit starts getting big press, and actually he like really hams it up, like he's drinking beers and like really like getting outrageous and like how he's explaining what's coming up, to the point, by the way, eventually when we get to the first rock and roll concert, it's a lot of which was a big deal, that it was mixed. A lot of before this, again, a lot of venues would either be basically 90% white, 90% black, maybe a few mixed, you know, a few randos, but this concert was pretty mixed. And the black people, when they saw Freed get up, they're like, that guy's white. Like, they thought he was a black DJ, because it's pre-internet days. They don't just go on the website and be like, this is you know, Alan Freed. So anyway,
I wonder what they were thinking. He was black, you know, like.
But anyway, so what happened was this radio show, he starts doing this. I had the name of it. It's called and I can. This
What
is
am I looking at here?
what you're looking at is
looking at
actually
a
the very
crowd of people.
first image from the very first concert.
Is this a stadium we're looking at?
It was.
Who's on the bill?
Well, here I can.
Van Halen, it looks like.
Yeah, right. No, actually, it was. So the show was called like the Moondog Show, the radio show. So if you look, this is who was there.
The Moondog Coronation Ball at Cleveland Arena. Who
They
do we
spelled
have?
night wrong, didn't they? Friday night.
Paul Williams and the Hucklebuckers.
Yeah, that was like the kind of what was going to be the headliner.
Is that the show? Did Tiny Grimes play at that show too?
Well, here's what happened. Yes, he did.
Yeah, I
You
thought
can
so.
see
I
him.
remember
So
that.
did the Dominos and Danny Cobb.
Oh, the
Danny
middles there.
Cobb was at that show.
Yeah.
Wow, was he the opener? Because he must have been young.
Oh no.
So what happens is the program that he's doing gets so popular in 8 months. It takes 8 months where he's finally like, dude, this is big enough. We need to do a dance party. We're gonna do a dance party, and this is what they come up with. This at the Cleveland Hall, this Moondog Cannibal Ball.
So was it like a sock hop or something?
Moondog Cannibal Ball. Is that what you see?
Or Coronation Ball, sorry. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, a lot of cannibalism going on there at the Moondog Ball.
Coronation Cannibal.
Coronation,
Whatever.
sorry. I get nervous. And anyway, the place though, so the place holds 10,000 people is the thing. They sell it out in a day. For one, it's
Advance tickets sold out in a day at
in
$1.50 each.
Yes, one
Wow.
day it's sold out.
Save a quarter.
And well, they
$1.75
couldn't
at
even
the
save.
door.
They didn't even get a chance to save that quarter. And so what happens is, for one, it sells out so fast that he actually is going to make another show. And they print out tickets, and the person doesn't write the freaking date right.
No! So everybody
And-
shows up to the one show.
Right. And there's a bunch of, it gets so much hype, there ends up being a bunch of, like, dude, this is back in the
I
day.
think that was intentional? Dude, that very well may have been
Well, look at,
an
here's what the
intentional
ticket, so here's
mistake.
what the ticket, and so as if you couldn't, you know, as if back in the day, there's no, you know, like no scanner, no nothing, so people can counterfeit those things. So the venue holds 10,000.
Throw 'em on a
It
copy
sounds like
machine, right?
25,000 show up to go to a 10,000 seat venue. And as you can imagine, that goes over rather well. They start letting people in, and all of a sudden it just becomes a melee of people just, I have fucking tickets, blah, 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 and I have my tickets. And so they just hammer in, dude.
Probably helps cement rock and roll right off the bat.
Dude,
It's
yeah.
the
rebellious.
very
rock and roll.
first rock and roll concert does not even last more than a few songs because it is
gosh.
such a riot of young people trying to get in. I have tickets, god damn it, and whatever. And
Yeah, we've seen this play out before. I mean, this is what happened at Woodstock, wasn't it? People just started running the fences over and
Right.
just joining the party.
Saw the old people bitch about it, right? Oh, the damn rock and roll.
that definitely happened. Now there is, gosh, it is tough. I've looked at some of these history things and things that we think that these days are, oh my god, racism and everything. But man, it does creep into other little things. It's never been confirmed. But some people, this got called off in the end. There was a riot. People bum rushed to get in because they're like, I have tickets. And the marshal comes in, or the police and whatnot. They come in and they cancel it, kicked everyone out. It's over. And there is people that think that there were a mix of like upper people going, I don't like this being mixed. Like the fact that it wasn't
Yeah.
just
That
white
black
or black.
around my daughter.
Yeah, the idea that mixed races watching a band. I can't believe it.
Right.
So
They don't
there
want
is.
that black rubbing off on their daughter.
But
you
on
know?
the same hand, there's also an equal argument to be made that it's a little of both because there's 25,000 people trying to get into a 10,000 arena venue. They say they come the next day and the doors are just busted out, whiskey bottles everywhere, and so.
Yeah, that's a pretty rock and roll moment.
Hell yeah.
You know.
So like I said, some of the mistake was just the dates. He was going to make a second date, and so the person printing those tickets printed them wrong. Some was just flat out counterfeit.
God, they had Big E's even way back in 1952.
And so,
Fuck, dude.
I'm sorry.
Oh man, Alan Freed's like, Mother E, the fucking date on the ticket is wrong. Oh fuck, dude. No, I know. Bro, oh man, dude. Fuck, dude. Sorry, Alan. That one's on me.
So it's kind of, by the way, this is going back a little bit, but it is kind of as simple as this. The rock and roll term basically came from the like I said, the record store holder that's trying to get the DJ, dude, you need to start getting into this shit. It flat out came from him just saying, dude, like, these kids are rocking and rolling in the aisles to this shit. You gotta, like, I'm telling you, this is big. And this concert, 100% after this rock concert, it was like, it got national big time, and people were like, oh shit. People will pay to go watch.
Right.
Like it wasn't
Weren't you
even
having rock concerts with Elvis Presley and shit before that?
I think that was probably like country technique. I don't know the exact reasoning of why
the
they
first one
wouldn't say.
billed as like rock and
Yes,
roll.
this was the first build as like this is a rock concert that's based around this type of music. And so like even when I don't think this one is much racist as much as just a sign of the times, but again, there were people throughout the country that weren't sure that this type of music would it sell.
I wonder if the over ticketing wasn't intentional. Honestly, you make the mark like that. Everybody, oh my God, look at all these kids interested in this.
Well, I mean, if you're making $1.50 a ticket, and all of a sudden it's like making $3 a ticket.
It's a beautiful.
You're doubling
thing.
your profits.
Anyway, I don't have like honestly, I thought it was interesting. I don't have as much really. That's kind of what I got.
Do you have some audio or video from the show?
No,
Kind of light on the visuals.
Yeah.
the most I could do. Here's. I mean, I had that's a ticket stub from the show. I had the poster. There's not.
God, that looks boring as shit, doesn't it?
Yeah, the music.
Guy in a
I kind of
sport
looked.
jacket standing up there.
Yeah.
Shit, I could look him up. The
Who's
music.
the
that
Chinaman
was,
behind the sport jacket guy?
Is that Alan Freed right there?
I don't
Yeah, probably.
know, but I should look at. You know what? I should have done this because the music that was
Wow,
rock
there are
and roll.
quite a few of the blacks there, E. You're right. That would have made the white father upset. Mingling with my daughter.
Here, if I can, maybe I can see on the fly if I can find some of that the headlining band, I suppose. I mean, it's basically not rock and roll at all to what you would think rock and roll is. It's just kind of rhythm and blues.
Mm-hmm.
Very, you know what? I should have.
That would have sounded like such shit.
Yeah,
in that
I would,
venue.
I should have. You know what? I should have copied and pasted the freaking the YouTube thing. I don't have it here, but I will say I watched a video of the Hucklebuck kind of band, and there was like a guy like, "No, you guys have heard them around, blah blah blah," and they come on and like, I'm just like,
Not excited.
rock and roll. I don't know about that.
Well, everything has to start somewhere,
But
right?
very
Well,
true.
those venues just weren't equipped with sound.
Yeah, big dance hall sort of
Capabilities.
things.
Yeah.
Just
They-
cavernous.
Oh, they didn't have PAs. It's why the Beatles stopped touring when they did, because it was like Candlestick Park, I think, was their final show ever.
Chicks screaming.
Yeah,
That's all you hear.
you couldn't hear the PAs over the screaming girls. And so it was like, fuck this. And so they just became a studio album
Yeah,
band.
thank
And-
God.
Yeah.
and that saved the Beatles, obviously.
Yeah. So I can only imagine what it was like in 1953 to be at that show. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
But it
One,
was it,
one
it-
12-inch fucking speaker sitting there.
but it
To
just
rock out to it.
But it's funny, like to me, a lot of these things when I do these history things, especially when I do like a first of things, it just shows you. It's like there's just so many things we take for granted, and it's like it wasn't happening yet. And finally, this guy gets in his ear. He starts this little overnight thing, and it's like, shit, this is kind of big. They do it, and then it boom, instantly now everyone in the country, hey, why the fuck aren't we doing this? Why don't we have these things? And it's like, but it wasn't there a week ago, you know? It's like
It's weird, too. Like, you think 1953 is just not that long ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the Beatles wrapped up their touring in 72 or something. And it's like 72, 10 years later, we're going to shows.
Wow, I thought it was earlier than that, but
Maybe
yeah.
it was.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But it's just not that long ago. Imagine
within
30.
our parents' lifetimes.
Oh, for sure. Imagine 40 years from now. It'd be like, they'll be talking about these shit-ass shows. Some idiot will be doing this day in history, and talking about Guns N' Roses show at the
Right.
Palace or something.
Well, you know what they'll be talking
like,
about?
oh fuck, can you imagine having to go to that shit
Oh,
show?
talk about the birth of techno or something.
Well, I was gonna say what I could see happening is like, you mean you actually had to like go to the thing and sit? They'll just be like, dude, now I just sit there and I have these goggles on and everyone's front row, like
Yeah.
everybody's just like,
Yeah.
dude,
The
you mean
VR
people had to
side of it.
sit like in an upper level or something?
actually physically go there.
And you're like, some of you couldn't really even see the artist.
Yeah, there'll be no such thing as a sellout because everybody in the world would just throw their goggles on in their living room, and it'll
Yeah.
just give you the appearance of an absolute packed house going ballistic.
Dude, when I did that, and again, I know I'm not like new to this, but just doing that VR thing when I did the Madison Square Garden and having them have me walk up and be like, here I am sitting there watching like Billy Joel's Drummer, and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Is the sound good?
Yeah, it was fucking. I mean, it could get better, of course, but I mean, I
better
basically
get better.
But I mean, I had headphones not this nice, but
Sure,
you
they
know,
can provide whatever sound quality they want.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
the visually, dude, it was like I said. I was walking up the aisle. That's when it finally dawned on me. I saw this big kind of, one of those dudes you just picture at a concert that's right up front, making sure no one gets up there.
Security guy.
Right, and I'm like, dude, I'm following this guy, and I'm like, we're gonna fucking go backstage.
So
we're
could you
going
like,
on stage.
could you like walk up and sit on the bench for Billy Joel while he's playing
No,
piano?
you couldn't do that. But like when you looked around, 100% it was like because it was in the round. His concert was like in the round. So if I turned myself the other way, I'd see like the people behind the thing, and you could look at faces and stuff. It was
It's crazy. And that's the technology is going there, but we absolutely know within 6 months,
Oh, I know.
just using those goggles to fuck.
I know.
That's it.
I know. Can I
They
see
just-
some titties?
I thought people were already doing that. Isn't
They
that-
are,
better.
but it's like, oh yeah, this is put you in the round in the stadium, and it's like, yeah, that's all cool, but man, I want to fuck a blonde right now. Just be sitting in stores, just dry humping. No. I wonder if we'll get to the point where you can pick people like, man, who's the hot model now in the world, and it's like, yeah, I want to fuck her. Can I fuck Giselle Bundchen? Sure. And just
Well, actually,
pick it up on a scroll.
I guess if they make themselves available via
Not-
video, right?
Yeah.
Not to go down a
Which they should. Honestly, that'd be nice of them to do.
not to go down like a cartoon show route, but there was a show I watched called Futurama where they talked about this, and it's like, dude, it does seem like humanity to me. Like it got to a point in this like cartoon show, but like they had to tell humans like you cannot date a robot. Because then what happened was like, remember when Billy wanted to go out? He used to want to get a job, and so he could raise money to take his Joanne out or whatever. Now Billy has a robot girlfriend, and he's just in his room doing nothing but
Yep.
fucking as behind the society is literally crumbling because all the guys are just in the fucking
Yeah, which you're taking away the thing that
You need the
stops us
chase, dude.
from fucking all day.
I think there's
It's
a
like-
Rick and Morty one along
Really?
that line too. Yeah, Morty's doing the same thing, dude.
It makes
they just
sense.
gotta grab him by the hips and get him out of that robot and out the door to go do something.
To do anything.
Yeah, anything.
And it's like, if a guy is out in the yard fucking his picnic table, you'd be like, that fucking monster.
Disgusting.
But we're all like, yeah, of course he's fucking his robot. Yeah, why wouldn't he be fucking his robot? That's why he got the robot.
Well, what did I say yesterday? Remember we were talking about the hoarders, and I said like, what was it about? Like, if you get to the point where you're like, you're not gonna have sex, then it's dangerous. And if you get to that other Playboy part, that can be. You need to be in that middle
Gotta be in the
ground
middle.
where you're
Sweet
like,
spot.
I still got to prove to a girl I'm worthy of something, but I'm not an asshole.
Well, maybe there will be like parental locks on a robot where it's like, nope, you've already fucked her enough for the month. Like you can only fuck her once a day
that money
for a month.
But money can't be the issue. It has to just be like,
After 2 weeks, people are coming out of their house. Oh shit! 2 weeks left to go. I can't fuck my robot for another 2 weeks. It's locked up. So nobody sees anybody for 2 straight weeks, and then we
guess
all
I'll fucking
emerge.
do something.
For 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks of the month, we're good. We all come out.
That
and
last day.
say hi to each other, and then it's like, boy, oh boy, as soon as that robot, reconfigures and we go back to square one at midnight, back into our houses for 2 weeks.
If it was on your 2-week plan, see, the first day, everyone I think would be good. I think it would be like, oh, fuck John, dude, hell yeah. But then that last day, everyone would get all anxious and fuck, be like, oh, God, one more day and I can start
more day.
fucking again.
No, we'd fuck it up too. It'd be like, so, E, what are you doing tonight? Well, I don't know, just hanging out at home, I guess. Mind if I come by? And it's like, you're not fucking my robot, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You're not. I've only got 3 fucks left. Get out of there.
It's in a gun case. Everyone has like a locked up.
Got your robot locked up in the closet. No, get out of there. Get out of there. Go away. Get your own fuck doll. Dick licker.
Gentlemen, do you realize the NCAA tournament is in full swing?
Yes.
It's going on right now.
Is that what you're paying attention to? Are you watching TV over here?
No.
I wish I was.
Is Sparty playing?
They are playing right now, yeah.
They
I
are?
have no idea what's going on. But hey, you should get to Hamlin Pub to watch your favorite team on one of their numerous TVs and enjoy sports specials like the $7 medium hand-tossed pizzas, boneless wings, or the Nacho Supreme. Of course, these specials are good at all 5 Hamlin Pub's locations, Clarkston, Chesterfield, Rochester, and the 2 in Shelby Township.
You want to just wrap it up and go watch watch some hoops?
I got to actually run in a few.
Do you?
But
why don't we wrap it? I mean, I could jump into some of these stories. You want to watch the bear?
Oh, shit, I don't have
on
any videos, dude, that you can get.
I think bears walking on their hind legs are the best thing in the world right now.
Yeah, they're pretty damn close.
I
Better
can't
than when they catch
help
monkeys.
But laugh
and,
every time. I just
remember the one riding the bike though that
I
caught the
know,
monkey. I mean,
know.
it's just so precious.
I'll take just fundamentally them on their hind legs. You don't have to throw them on a bike and
There's
have them
just-
chase a monkey. You don't need. I don't need that.
There's something about the lean. They're like, how's it going, guys?
Totally,
Just out for the
it
stroll.
absolutely looks like somebody is in a bear suit.
Yeah, this video, like some of the comments, people of course are like outraged at this one because it's like someone taught him to do that trick, some cruel circus, blah blah blah. It's not good for him. They're all that, and then someone is like, I'm not convinced that's not a man in a bear suit. Like, there's nothing that makes me believe that's an actual bear.
You'll never 100% convince me that these
Yeah.
are not men in bear suits.
Which is, it pisses me off because every time I see him, I'm like, turn around, dude. I want to see if there's a zipper somewhere because that could easily be a guy in a sweet ass bear suit.
Something
We've
the way they stride.
You know, because we've seen those before where it's like there's a bear, he's walking off, and then you're like, oh, look at that poops, look at that poop, and all of a sudden he just goes into a karate move and shit.
Oh, I've
and then
not seen that.
Yeah, and then you know he's an actual human, and it's like, dude, that's what Jay's talking about.
That would indicate, yeah.
Yes, when he went into his fucking Elvis Presley karate moves and shit, there's no way that's a bear.
Okay, yeah, just like, give me just a minute here.
Yeah. So this is a poops. He's been filmed. Did you see this one?
Yeah.
Where he's shuffling past the bus.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you doing? He's just going back, and so you got all these fucking tourists.
Great. I mean, it's just, I love this.
Yeah, this is in South Korea, and dude, I'm laughing so hard at this. It's like, does he know that these guys? Because all you see is cameras up, like, oh no, look at the bear, very good. They're all into it, and he's just inches from the window.
Yeah,
trying to be cool.
Oh,
as
he's showing
shuffling
off.
along.
Yeah, I think they know.
Yeah. But this particular park has faced issues before because they're the park that they dressed up all their penguins in Christmas outfits.
Wow.
Yeah. And they had Santa Claus penguins. And yeah.
Here he comes strolling by.
What's going on? E, do you not have it?
The
there?
commercial, once this advertisement's on, I got it.
God, it's amazing.
Oh,
Here we go.
I want one. Now make sure his hands aren't fucked up, and that's
No, he looks straight up grizzly,
All
man.
right, here you go.
all right. So E's got it here, so everyone can watch with us.
Look at that guy.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I love the looks on their faces too.
So yes, the
Yeah,
fit, you're right.
Whatever.
Just out for a stroll, yeah. Nothing to see here. Why you guys filming me? Why you guys all filming? Oh, hey guys. Yeah. Why you talking weird?
There he goes.
I gotta go.
God
See you guys. It's nice hanging out.
Let him go.
That son of a bitch.
Look
Look at it.
Watch it right there. That's the best part.
Yeah, I got this. He's a mascot, dude. He's wearing a mascot head. That's not
Yeah,
fair.
can we see his eyes looking out of his neck? Like human eyes looking out of the neck area?
Go
Because
back
that's
to the
where they would
beginning.
be.
Yeah.
He looks like he's struggling a bit. Yeah,
All right, look
I
for
got it.
eyes.
I got it.
I don't see any eyes.
Yeah, I got
It's real.
this. That's a real fucking bear,
Yeah.
dude.
He's a big guy.
You guys all catching this? Yeah.
He's a cute.
He is a cute. What's going on? Oh, man, it starts in the tongue. Fuck.
Love him.
Wave?
Love him.
You want to wave? Okay. When do I get to fish again?
Look at his hips. Look at his hips.
Dude, those are boots. Those are boots. Look at the very end of that when he starts walking away.
Look at him go.
When he waves, he's like, all right, bye, guys. Nice hanging out with you. Thanks for coming by our park. Yeah. All right, I'm going to get some fish. Maybe a little bit of honey. Yeah, that one's pretty cute. How you doing, sweetheart? Yeah. All right. See you
Bye.
guys. Look at his boots, dude. He's wearing boots.
He's got no boots.
Yeah, he's wearing boots. Yeah, I got my boots on here. They're like moon boots.
Man, amazing animal.
His butt is too low, you know, because they're used to being on all fours, and so they're perfectly dimensionally they fit perfect for all fours.
Yeah.
So when you prop them up and stand them up like that, their hips are too low.
Yeah.
So it gives that real like, how's it going? Yeah. He kind of reminds me of T-Roy, like.
But yet they have a confident
kinda,
stride like T-Roy. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. T-Roy's just a bear. T-Roy's probably a bear in a human costume.
Right.
I'll have to get my dick sucked. Just fucking strolls out the lip. Oh, I love them bears so much. So yeah, this one person says, didn't believe it was a bear. Do bears really walk like that? Looks like a person in a bear costume to me.
That's it right there.
Yep. 9 jackass penguins. Did you know jackass penguins were a thing?
No, I didn't.
Also dressed as Christmas outfits. Santas, a Christmas tree, and a zookeeper. And then they parade them around the park. I think they're in that story. If you just go down the story you were on with the bear, I think they've got pictures of those guys. And so they're originally from the coast of Africa, protected as their numbers have dwindled due to extensive hunting and habitat loss. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I'm Santa.
Is there really anything wrong? Is that hurting anyone?
Well, they're just confused. They just have to be so confused.
They're in a zoo,
But
dude.
are they confused?
Yes. You
Well, the
cannot
zoo's
put a
already
Santa suit on a penguin and expect him not to be confused.
I don't think they're any more confused than being in the zoo, though.
Right.
I think they're confused, but they're confused about the whole aspect of why they're even where they are.
Bill, why are you dressed like a Christmas tree?
There's penguins and I can see dirt.
I don't know. Why am I dressed like this? I don't know.
Yeah, so we have Santa, Christmas tree, and then what's the one in the front?
He's a zookeeper.
No, the one in the front right there, yeah.
That one. Yeah, he's a zookeeper.
Oh,
Yeah, he's dressed as a zookeeper.
gotcha.
So we've got Christmas trees. Yeah, that guy doesn't look confused at all. Holy shit, you got to help. I'm Santa.
We don't have to swim with these, do we?
Yeah, no, I can't swim with these. It's kind of heavy, and I can't even take it off. Guys, would you spread out?
Oh,
there's,
back to the bear.
there's the bear guy.
I want to see if they got. Oh, look at that image. There we go.
Look at it. Poops. I just want to kiss his head so much.
So this place is under fire because they now have a walking bear and they've dressed up penguins and
What did they do to this bear that makes him walk like that? The unfortunate answer is probably years of abuse.
Years, probably only. Even if there was set abuse, it's probably like 6 months ish, right?
I love that image right there. Like, oh, who's that? She's kind of cute. Yeah, what's your name, sweetheart? It's kind of getting that look like, oh, I didn't see her when I walked by.
a little bit of a lean, yeah.
Yeah, how's it going? Yeah. How do you feel about bears? Yeah, it's cute. Stop drooling, bear.
Right.
I hope his name is like Bill or Steve.
Keith.
Yeah.
Rob.
Everybody say hi to Rob. Hey, guys, I'm Rob. Nice to meet you. Just out for a stroll in here. You know, got my boots on. Stop walking around. Again, it's Rob. See you guys later. All right, should we get out of here?
Yeah, let's save the rest for tomorrow.
We're not here tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, Sunday.
And I'm not even going to promote the new studio anymore. Fuck it. Until that goddamn box gets here.
Right.
With the final fucking cords holding the fucking whole thing up, Jay. See what you did? You got me all worked up now.
Who did?
No, somebody did. I want to. Anyway, have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy the March Madness. It'll be going like crazy all weekend, and have fun with that. And we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.
film festival 1 year ago, almost exactly,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and then here we are, a full calendar year around.
Yes.
Going,
Was that a
now it's
year
coming out."
ago?
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Wow.
exactly a year ago. I mean, I've been in this project for 3.5 years. Josh,
Wages. Yeah.
Love him as a person.
Oh,
I
direct.
now it could be anything from a coffee shop all the way to it's not a
Game.
So it was like,
Really?
character.
It's like,
Is
this is why it doesn't work because of all that.
fuck Mac when they're
And like really and mixed. Like the
Oh,
they sitting around.
goes to bat. And then it's like we have all the answers, so it's got to be exciting for you guys to find.
It's real.